Good evening, everybody. Time being 6:38. This is the Wednesday, February 7th Master Plan Committee. Tonight's meeting is being held in the third floor training room at 355 East Central Street. A note to residents, all citizens are welcome to attend the public board and committee meetings in person. The meetings will also be live streamed by Franklin TV and shown on Comcast Channel 9 and Verizon Channel 29. Recordings of meetings are available on Franklin TV's Franklin Town Hall TV YouTube channel, and additionally, in an effort to maximize citizen engagement opportunities, citizens will be able to continue to participate remotely via phone or Zoom. The link to access this February 7, 2024 subcommittee meeting is below. Just copy and paste the URL. Call-in number is 1-929-205-6099 and enter meeting ID 8411-6841-828 and then press pound. Once again, the number is 929-205-6099 and enter meeting ID 8411-6841-828. And then press pound. Relatively short agenda tonight since we have a lot going on next week as far as the public hearing is concerned. So just a couple of quick things on our agenda, mostly just planning, setting dates and stuff. But quickly, just want to throw it by the subcommittee chairs if there's any new updates. Colby, circulation.
I believe circulation has met, community services, facilities and circulation has met twice since our last meeting. One was we attended the GATRA public hearing and got to hear some input from Franklin residents about how GATRA, where it falls short in some of its service offerings, and hear GATRA's response. So that was helpful, and then we translated that into a tour of the senior center with the senior center director. That was super insightful, very similar to our bike tour, and in fact filmed similarly to our bike tour and can be offered in a similar way. Just a helpful walkthrough to learn just how much is being offered at the senior center and how they're evolving over time. So we found both those very valuable. And then just before this meeting, we met and spoke about some of the public hearing activities that we want to see, as well as what our meetings will look like moving forward. And so next week before the meeting, we're going to have the town engineer in to talk about circulation and our questions around circulation. That's next week. Yep, our meeting after that is going to be with the facilities director who we were hoping to get in today, but we're going to be getting him in March to ask him questions about facilities, and we're hoping to have one other one around general government and sort of the things that we didn't get to cover through our bike tour or visit of the senior center. So all of those we're hoping to schedule and advertise cohesively and give the public as much foresight as we can to use those times as efficiently as we can.
Wow, you guys are active.
Best committee. Still true.
Thanks, Colby. Thank you for the update. Much appreciated. I'm going to kick it over to Janelle with Land Use and Zoning.
The real best committee.
I don't know.
I like the competition.
We had a good, productive meeting last week on the 1st, where we, and Amy joined us because we invited the Department of Planning and Community Development to meet with us and go over some of the questions we had related to efforts that were in progress or things that were marked in progress in the last master plan, and just some things that we knew were ongoing in town. So that was helpful. Thank you, Amy. And then we also talked about observations and maybe lessons from other area communities that have prospering downtowns that seem to be attracting businesses, like Hudson, Mansfield, Walpole. We were just talking about different areas that were nearby that might have had recent development in them, and what might be coming out of that, and are there any lessons to take away from that. And then we've talked about what our next community outreach for our specific group might be. So we're trying to nail that down
Okay.
as well.
Any thoughts or dates nailed down yet?
Aiming for February 24th, which we know is coming soon, but we'd like to land someplace and be able to have people come and meet us and ask their questions and learn what land use is all about.
I'm looking forward to it. February 24th, that's a...
A Saturday.
That's a Saturday, okay. Everyone likes the Saturdays. Speaking of Saturdays, are you all set? I'm sorry.
Yep.
Thank you, Janelle. I think I'll throw it over to Meg in regards to open space, recreation, natural, cultural, historical resources.
Hi everyone, how are you?
Good.
I think I might be frozen on here. I'm not sure if I'm frozen there, but I'm just gonna go ahead and keep talking as long as you can hear me.
Yep, we can hear you.
Awesome. We
good.
had our first public outreach at the library actually this past Saturday. We got some great input from a few citizens. It was not quite as busy as we had expected. We had planned it around a Girl Scout World Kindness Day that they were doing, and the event was supposed to get out at 3. So our plan was to be there for 3 so we could catch people as they were coming out, but the event did wrap up a little bit early. So we didn't get quite the foot traffic that we thought we would, but we did get some good feedback from some of the citizens that stopped by to chat with us. So I think it's definitely something worth doing again. It was certainly a different group of people that came to talk to us than I think we've previously gotten input from. So I think we're going to look at potentially doing another one there. And then our next one will be, we were actually looking at also February 24th. So I want some feedback from everybody if they think 2 different subcommittees on the same day having public outreach is too much. Do we look at maybe doing it in March instead? We want to do a walkout on the SNET for that one along with the Rail Trail Committee. So their next one is 10 a.m. on February 24th. But we could also look at doing March 23rd, same time if we think no overlap is a better idea. Thoughts?
What time were you thinking? Did you guys have a plan? I'm sorry, Meg, give me a second. Janelle, what time were you guys thinking?
So what we tentatively did, which we'd still need to nail down, was okay. What if we do the Winters Farmer Market,
Yep.
similar to how sustainability did, and do we have maps and stickies and things like that?
Yeah,
So that goes 10 to 2.
10 to 2. Okay. and
But
this-
again, this was our first stab at a date, and knowing there's something on March 2nd.
Yep.
Also, I didn't want us to be pushing too far into March if we were looking at avoiding days, but I forgot about the SNET.
Amy?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We can help you out, Janelle, with the stickies and markers, the poster boards, we have tables, all that stuff. So we can help you out with getting stuff set up there.
Okay.
And Meg, what time were you thinking for the SNET trail? What time frame?
The walk is at 10 a.m. Is that right, Kobe?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's, to me, it's okay.
think it's
okay.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Maybe-
I was just trying to figure out if there would be any
Echoing.
conflict between the two, but I really personally don't see an issue with both subcommittees hosting similar events on the same day for various things. They're both kind of public engagements that, meet various aspects of the community. There's nothing wrong with that. Max, you had a quick question?
Marangelo, 127 Central Park Terrace. I just didn't know if there was an opportunity, because we're having an election on March 5th, if we can do something outside of the polls for feedback, considering people are coming to the polls anyway and they're civically engaged. Just a thought.
Okay, I'll make a note of that. Thanks, Max. March 5th.
Say, encourage SNET attendees to head to their local farmers market.
Right,
Yeah.
absolutely.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
So I would suggest to Meg and Janelle to just move forward with those dates.
Okay.
Great.
And simply because it's sooner than later. And the fact that they're on the same day with me is perfectly fine. I definitely don't have an issue with it. That's good.
Great. And Kobe, I'll reach out just to confirm that you're good with a marketing piece to go out promoting the SNET walk as well. So I'll just reach out to you before I post that.
I think there's a proposal to change Kobe's name to Snet Gatra.
There's 2 middle names.
You're not the president anymore though, right?
No longer the president.
Oh, okay.
Right, so,
All right.
Can't be.
All right. So we'll
No,
call-
but it will also use our social media platforms to push forward anything that you put together. That would be pretty
Perfect.
easy.
Perfect.
Thanks,
any-
Kobe.
Anything else, Meg?
That's it for me. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Gino, sustainability?
Yes, we have public outreach scheduled for a week from tomorrow, February 15th, Thursday morning at the Senior Center at 8:30, as well as March 2nd at the library at 9:30 to 12.
March 2nd. That's 9:30 to 12?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Great stuff. And over to you, Ken, with housing and economic development.
Yep, we are looking at some opportunities to do some outreach beyond what we've got planned as the big committee. We're trying to get us to a point where we are looking at deleting, keeping, or changing some of the goals that we've got from 2013, and I think also, but also in some of the other subcommittees, a question came up, and that is what any one box here or there, but are really worth us at least putting them somewhere for consideration for the future. This whole notion that maybe there's not an answer right now, we're not solving for anything right now, we're not creating goals for anything right now, but these are questions that are really important as we consider the future. And at some point, someone's going to have to think about them. So that's where we are right now.
Okay. Very good. Thank you, sir. I hope you're safe and sound. It looks like you're on a train or a plane or an automobile. But I hope you're enjoying your trip. Is he on
it looks
Amtrak?
like a train.
It's a train. It's a train. I should be in Franklin pretty soon.
Oh, okay. Very cool. Thank you, sir. Appreciate your time.
That's beautiful.
I gotta love the transportation.
We just gotta add some more Wi-Fi to it.
That's right.
Yeah, no kidding.
Improve it.
All right, so that pretty much wraps up our subcommittee updates for the evening. I'm going to jump right down to meeting minutes for approval for meeting minutes of January 10th and January 24th. I'm looking for a motion.
Motion to approve as submitted.
Second,
And roll call vote.
roll call
Yep.
vote. Bruce,
Yes.
Meg,
Yes.
Gino,
Yes.
Rick,
Yes.
Janelle,
Yes.
Eric and Jen are absent,
Mhm.
right? Okay. Joe,
Yes.
Erin,
Yes.
Ken,
Yes.
okay, he's still there. Okay. Clerk, yes. Vice Chair,
Yes.
Chair.
Yes.
Great. That's 11 to 11,
And 2 absent.
2 absent.
Perfect. Thank you, Mel. I appreciate that. And thank you, group, for approving the minutes. That moves us on to the third and final topic of the night, planning or for public outreach meetings. Amy, I'll throw it over to you.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So, I've met with Beta and Barrett. They started the slide deck for the presentation for that night. They're kind of kick off at where we're at, what we've done, and then we'd like for each subcommittee to. So there's 2 sections for each of the subcommittees. The first section will kind of be what your mission is, what you're doing as a subcommittee, what's your definition of your element that you're providing in it. The second part of it is to kind of say either where you're at, if you have a few goals and objectives that you want to share with the public outreach, any issues. So it's kind of open to each of the subcommittee to kind of put in one slide, kind of be, we're looking at it as a very interactive night that will kind of jump from Beta and Barrett to each of the subcommittees, maybe back to them, and then at the end, we'd like to do questions and answers.
Perfect. I sent out an email the other day highlighting the same information that Amy just talked about. If each chair could just fill in the slides accordingly, Amy and Barrett will fill in the rest. I'll add in a few myself. And if anyone else has any thoughts or ideas that they want to throw into the meeting for next Wednesday, let me know between now and next week. Go ahead, Amy.
Sorry, thank you, Mr. Chair. I had a few more comments on that.
Sure.
Yeah, so what we'll do is, it's in the drive, so that everyone can update that. We'll have the complete slide deck there, ready to present at the town, it's at, Town Hall, Town Council Chambers, that everything will be set up there, and then we'll just have, I plan to bring some poster boards. People wanna write down comments, any people in the audience that come, just like an easel over there, to try to see if anybody has any comments they want to address, to get that out there, and then we'll post the final presentation after the meeting on the website.
Amy, can I request that as part of next week's meeting, that we put it either on Twitter or and get it out on Facebook, on this town's
Yeah.
Facebook page, as well as getting it off. I know the emails, for anyone who gets the emails, if we can get that off to the email route as well.
Yep.
For anyone who gets the emails. Does everyone here get the emails from the town? That go out? And those are just the general emails as part of, because it's the first thing you see when you go online to the town's website, is that pop-up that says, hey, be part of our mailing list. It's a very useful tool for anyone who wants to stay abreast of what's going on around town. Did somebody have their hand up on that?
I did post something, last week I did put out on the town blog, save the date, we're doing, public outreach on February 14th. And then today I did post the quote agenda, the meeting as well on the website today for next week.
Perfect, thank you. Meg, did you have a question or comment?
Yeah, through the chair, Amy, I was just wondering if you could provide a little bit more information on what they'd like to see for the mission itself. I know as subcommittees, we haven't really been charged with specifically creating a mission statement, rather than as a whole master plan, we came up with that mission statement. So I'm just wondering if we'll just have a bit redundancy on each slide, if we're all just sort of reciting what the master plan mission statement is.
Go ahead, Amy.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Chair. Meg, I think what we're more looking for is your definition of your element.
Right.
Which you do have that, most of it is in the INA plan, if people haven't read through that plan. So I think not so much your mission plan, but so much more of your definition of what your element is.
Right.
Okay, great, thanks for that clarification.
Took the words out of my mouth, Amy. So, Janelle?
So just to clarify, in the first set of slides for each subcommittee, there's going to be the list of the members of the subcommittee and the definition of the element. And then in the second set of slides for each subcommittee,
Yeah.
there's sort of a prompt of, these are the major questions and goals that we have, kind of.
So,
How might we attract and retain more businesses to Franklin, right, as one bullet.
And to follow her point up, Janelle, I also had the same question. What's Barrett's thoughts about those slides? Because leaving things kind of open-ended like that is kind of vague in such a short period of time.
So their thoughts are they're kind of leaving it up to the subcommittee chairs to kind of get up and present. They're gonna start off what we've done, where we're at, next steps, and then whatever really the second set of slides for the subcommittees are what do they want to present? What do you want to share for the public outreach? Are there questions you want to ask? Are there goals you want to share? Ideas? Kind of where you're at, with kind of a brief overview to kind of start the public thinking about where everyone's at with it and where this town wants to go.
Okay.
All right.
That make sense?
Yes, could we get that in, could we send out an email tomorrow in regards to what exactly the specifics would be? My only fear is that in such a short period of time, which is only a week goes by quick, that we're not gonna generate enough sustenance in the presentation to actually attract the public into engaging with us. That's my only problem. It's a relatively short time to generate a large presentation. And I apologize because I spend most of my days creating presentations. I know what can happen when you have a short presentation. You tend to lose the audience really quickly. So, do you know?
But, yeah, I think it would help us if we're consistent in terms of subcommittee chairs,
Right.
right? So do we have the list of of members and our definition. There's our template for each. And then do we have 3 statement starters for each group, or thought starters, or things like that, you know? What are ways we might, these are examples of some of the things we are thinking about in terms of goals for our subcommittee. How might we do this? And we want to hear what people think. That kind of thing, like a structure around all of our different subcommittees, I think will bring order to it.
I agree. Colby?
So we just talked about this.
Yeah.
And Mel and Ken, I'm glad that Ken's also the one with his hands up. So we got thoughts. Well, I think we didn't feel prepared as a subcommittee to provide goals worth responding to yet, but have key driving questions, and we identified 3 key driving questions. And if we think that that's a way to move forward, then that feels replicatable across the
Yes.
committees. And trying with those key questions not to just restate the elements, but rather to get into like
A targeted.
how are you viewing, why is this 10 years gonna be different than the last master plan around, right? So we put together, around Franklin Services, right? How do expanding technology change the services that Franklin offers is one of our key questions. How do we think about the way that people move around Franklin and how it relates and connects to prosperity and vibrancy of the larger community, right? So sort of those are the things that we're thinking about holistically as we look at the goals and objectives.
I know this might seem like a lot to ask, but if there were any specific types of questions that you'd like to see formulated that we could facsimile and put into these slides, if you could email me and Amy, or so that we can at least get them into the slides so that we have a template for people to work off of, or if you think people should just kind of formulate their own based on. I guess what I'm wondering is what's the general 3 questions and how would they relate to each content area, I guess.
I guess what we're, and I believe Janelle asked for, is like what format
Yeah.
do we consistently want that second slide to be in?
Right.
And I'm proposing that one such format be 2 to 3 driving key questions of the group. And if we get a thumbs up, I'm happy to provide mine. We already
Okay.
somewhat agreed. I'm happy to provide them
We did
as
that
an
in our
example.
committee.
But looking for some thumbs up that that's the way to move forward, as opposed to like some having like, here are first 3 goals, and here is our survey response thoughts, and
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
I think that's a really good idea. Like you suggested, that everybody kind of has the same 2 slides,
Yep.
basically, except it has to do with their subgroup
Yep.
or subcommittee. And it's their questions that are conversation starters about, like Gina would put something about sustainability, right? Like, how do we get people to think about it differently? And
Yeah, it's about our subcommittee's goals and objectives.
Right,
Ken, you had some thoughts on that?
that makes sense.
Ken, you had some thoughts on that?
This connection's been going in and
Oh,
out all.
yeah.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
think
it's
he's
gone.
actually,
Did he-
probably,
is
he
he
probably
gone?
just got off the train. We'll touch base with him if
Oh.
he gets back on. Okay, I agree. I think three questions will work. Any more than that seems a little.
It was helpful that in the meeting right before this, we were talking this through, and all three of us are subcommittee chairs, so
Yep.
we were somewhat aligned in saying, well, maybe if we feel about this way, everybody else can too. But we wanted to make sure that was the intent from Amy and Beta and
So,
Barrett. That,
Meg and Gino as the other chairs, how do you feel about that? Just want to throw that by you both. Meg?
Yeah, I think it will be a little bit of work for our committee. We'll just have to meet before then, just because we haven't looked at it necessarily in those specific terms. But I will find time in the calendar to make it happen.
Perfect. Thank you. Gino?
Yeah, I agree. I think that's the perfect way to go.
Okay. Then that's the direction we're going to take. Amy? Sounds good.
Ken's back.
Ken's back. Oh, he's back. Perfect. Ken, you had thoughts on the 3-question idea for the slides? Good, sir.
Yeah, I was wondering if, in addition to the questions, I wonder if it is important for us to also, just in a brief moment, talk about what the headwinds are and what the tailwinds are in terms of the issues that we're dealing with. I think that we've got to give people context on the big picture about some of these things. And, for example, economic development and housing, there are some real tailwinds now in 2024, and there's some real tailwinds as well. And I think it might be important to just 2 or 3 items that are really important in terms of that. And I think all of our subcommittees have headwinds, probably all of us more headwinds than tailwinds on a lot of these things. And I wonder if it's useful for us to give everyone a sense of those.
Kobe?
Well, it sounds like each of the chairs is going to be asked to present that slide, and I think what I was planning on doing in that time, albeit briefly, was similar to you, right? Here's how I see the larger landscape around our ideas, right? So we've had these meetings. Here's the broad considerations, including headwinds, right? Real challenges around these, and that's why we offer you these 3 driving questions, in addition to the other things that we're thinking about. If that sounds sufficient to you, then I would encourage all of us to come prepared to speak briefly on the larger ecosystem around our topic.
Thumbs up.
Well, the problem might be that it's not so much headwinds, but it's more gale force winds in some cases.
You're pushing the bounds of my science.
Yeah, it could be. It is.
Is that the stern or the?
I think headwinds.
Gail,
In
you
other
know
words,
what
we're
Gail
going into a storm, and we got to be prepared for it. So, I think the general consensus is everyone agrees to the slide with 3 generally posed questions that they're going to word and have available. Now, as Amy mentioned, these slides are available. Everyone should have the link to them if they could add their appropriate slides as they see appropriate. That would be great. And if anyone has any questions, Kobe had a comment.
I would just push you, if you can do it in 2, do it in 2, in the same way that you said that this can easily get overwhelming. I happen to be the chair of the community services, facilities, and circulation, and those feel like 3 very different buckets, but if you don't have as wide, I would push you to get it to 1 or 2, as you see fit, but up to 3.
Fair enough. I do tend to agree with the fact that many questions tend to muddle things a little bit and confuses the public in general. So keep it simple, keep it sweet, and keep it to the main topic. All right. Other than that's all good stuff. So we're going to move forward with that. Any further comments or questions in regards to the 14th meeting?
Get another hand from Ken.
Ken, your hand's still up, sir?
Yeah, I'm just looking at the timing on that and when that will be.
The time of next week's meeting, the 6:30 on the 14th.
It's 6:30.
Yes, sir.
And I don't know if we've gotten to this yet, but what about the 23rd as well?
That was our next topic of discussion, sir.
Apologies.
Nope.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. I just wanted to close any discussion on the February 14th meeting. Any further comments, questions on the 14th, about the 14th of February? Public hearing? No? Perfect, then we'll move on. Amy, the Saturday, March 23rd date. I know we've got a confirmation that the date has no conflicts with any other events or anything that's going on that day, but I think one of the overarching question, and it was kind of one of the things that we learned this weekend, Meg, Rick, and myself at the library, is what's an ideal time frame to really grab the public? I mean, I think late nights obviously not going to work, and I think early mornings kind of conflicting with many other things, but what are we thinking as a time frame? And I kind of want to throw this out to the committee as a whole to get their thoughts. Length, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, and at what time on the Saturday do you think would be an ideal time? And because one thing to recall from our previous discussions is that Dean College and Ken have offered to serve food to the public and open up as kind of an open house for that event. So it'll be, I don't know what conflicts there may be going on specifically around the community on the 23rd. It's just, we kind of want to leave our doors and our time frame open so that we attract as much of the public as we can to engage. Kobe?
Yeah, my reaction, and Janelle had an example of another community doing such a thing, and we have pretty, we think that the ceiling's high for what this could be. But my guess is how they ran it, and where my gut says is keep it open as long as we can and have it be things that you can drop in and drop out of. So whether that be, 4 or 5 hours, 10 to 2 or 11 to 3, capturing, just allowing people to drop in on their own schedule. Otherwise, I wouldn't overthink the possible conflicts, right? As long as it's open long enough, then people can come in between, soccer games or whatever it is.
Yeah, I agree. I think the general feeling is that during the day, though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
middle
So
of the day.
we're not the latter part of the day, not towards 3 to 5 or around dinner time, but definitely during the midday time frame, sometime between 10. Actually, Ken, I have to throw this over to you. What time would the school be willing to allow us to purpose the space that you're willing to offer?
Well, we have these busy days, and that's a very busy day for us. We've got a number of prospective students, accepted students, and other things happening. We've got athletic events as well. But if you could give me at least a chance to look at and really solidify a time period, that'll help me a lot in terms of figuring out what can work and what won't work. So I think what I'll need from folks is just to get a sense as to what you're looking at for some timing here. And I'll see what I can do to make this work.
I'm going to throw this general time frame out there, and I want to see what everyone thinks is 10 to 3. 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. How does everyone feel about a 5-hour window between 10 and 3? Now, again, it's kind of working with whatever Ken can finagle with the college. So I'm trying to leave a window open.
Yeah, having something that whole length
Yeah.
feels a little long, but maybe a 4-hour window within that. So if
Right.
it's 10 to 2 or 11 to 3. And if we can only manage 3, then that too.
Yeah.
Amy, you had a comment?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. I think that, just think of, part of the incentive is the food. So we do want, if you guys all kind of seem on board with a lunchtime thing. And as
Right.
Janelle just
Right.
elaborated, maybe it's 11 to 2 or 11 to 3, but you want to get them there for the food. So they're coming for a lunchtime,
Right.
ideally, if Ken is able to provide that. you know, I mean, the other thing would be like a brunch. If you're gonna go earlier in the morning and you want to do like 9 to noon, you would be thinking of like a brunch time.
Right.
But you gotta remember, we really want to get them there. They're gonna eat and kind of fit it in with times that people have their meals.
Mhm.
I agree. So, I think that in lieu of the uncertainty of what's available, I would suggest a time frame between 10 and 3. And Ken, if you can look into those, between those times, if you could ideally.
Sure.
If you could ideally look at, what's everyone thinking, 11 to 3?
11 to 2, 11 to 3.
Either 11 to 2 or 11
I
to
can
3?
certainly look into the time.
Okay.
But,
That would be great.
but let me make it really clear.
Yes, sir.
Let me make it clear. I'm not sure I can provide brunch or lunch. I can probably provide nosh, and that's a different kind of thing.
Right.
And then the other thing that'd be useful to know is whether or not what kind of use of space do we need, so we make sure we've got the right kind of space.
Right. Ideally, what would be, now, the Golden Room's kind of a second floor business room. That's kind of up out of the way, isn't it?
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
way too small.
that's out of the way. What space would you
It's
suggest?
also a small. It's also a small space.
Okay.
As well. So I'm just trying to get a sense as to how you want the bodies to move through the space.
Uh-huh.
And those kinds of things are really important. And I'll figure out the right kind of space. But it's really important to understand how we want to use the space, and to understand too, I can't put out an Astor brunch or lunch, but I can put out a regular nosh.
Okay. Well, with that, and would foot traffic in the main, not the main building, but the same building as the theater, I forget the name of it, the Rooney Building?
I think we want to give him, rather than prescribe the room, give him thoughts.
Yeah,
and
well,
come back to it.
that's his space, we'll let him think about it.
But in terms of feedback for considering space, I think how we felt coming out of the last meeting was the larger the better. And that
Without
we
a
want to
doubt.
be able to separate
Right.
people into different activities and not have them on top of each other. The example that Janelle pointed to used a full gymnasium.
That's what it looked like. I'm gonna send it to folks. It was when we were trying to decide on our name, and this is actually, it's a video of the open house that Franklin, Tennessee did, because I found Envision Franklin, right? But I thought, well, we can't copy the name, but I loved what they were doing in terms of the open house. It looked really engaging. There were different tables for the different kinds of questions and activities they had, and people could go right to the thing that they care about and talk to the person that they wanted to talk to, or they could just walk around the room, grab some food, and it was looked like a nice event. So I'll send it out to
I wonder if Franklin even knows we're watching what they're doing down there. It's just, so they've got clever ideas. Hey, good ideas are worth copying.
But Eric said that Mansfield did something very similar when I was talking to him about it.
Yeah.
So this seems like a good kind of engaging event, open house.
Just to name again for Ken, I think large,
Yeah.
like, gym level, cafeteria, a large open space where dozens of people could spread about into different activities.
If there's a large flat floor like flexible classroom, that kind of thing could work.
All right. Well, we'll leave Ken to think about it. To see what he's got available. I certainly don't want to interfere with his normal day operations over there. So, Ken, if you could get back to us at your convenience, hopefully sooner than later, just because we want to start advertising.
Will do.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. And one last thing that was on the agenda for tonight, namely, this goes back to you. You said there were some conflicts with the schedule?
Mr. Chair, can I just ask a quick question?
Yes, sir.
I moved out for a quick moment.
Okay.
Was that 10 to 2?
Either either 11 to 2 or 11 to 3, whatever you feel is the most convenient time for you guys. But if it, basically a time window between
Okay,
10 and 3, ideally between 11 and 2 or 11 and 3.
fantastic. Thank you.
No, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. So I didn't print it out. It was just some things to think about, some upcoming meetings. We did have, I guess, the most current one. You have February 14th has your public outreach.
Yep.
We also had on the agenda February 21st, so I didn't know if you want to cancel that
Yes.
meeting. Okay,
That-
so we can cancel
we-
that meeting. There's a few dates in April that we're going to readjust because one, the town council added a meeting.
Yep, they
And then
did.
the second date is I can't get a room here.
Oh,
They're all
alright.
booked. So we might be able to move those meetings, take a look at the town council calendar.
Yep.
That happens in April. So, but I guess the most current one is about the February 21st. I can
Yep.
take that off the agenda
Yep.
if we don't feel we need to meet that night.
No, we don't, since
Okay.
we actually moved the 21st to the 14th as part of
Right.
that
Okay.
public meeting. But as far as the April dates are concerned, you can just tell those town councilors to go bite themselves.
Why don't I-
you know,
I'm gonna
mean,
put it
who
on
do
the
they,
next-
who do they think they are after all?
I don't know.
Jesus,
I don't know,
pesky
Clark.
councilors. No, I see only one date in April, and that's the 10th. That was originally on our
Yes.
proposed schedule.
And then the following April date, the 2 weeks later, I can't get a room here. That's the only thing that this is booked and chambers are booked. Unless we
there's no
wanna
conflict with the
squish-
10th?
Unless we wanna do a Zoom only, or we squish
Well-
it to 2:05, I don't really know, but, huh?
Cozy.
Yeah, we can
We
definitely.
could do it somewhere else.
We can definitely take a traveling show. There's nothing wrong with that.
Instead of having it on TV, just use an owl or Zoom and have, big enough room.
No, we could do like the library or something.
Sure, and that actually
For
might
the
be
second one.
an even
Okay.
more attended meeting than the third floor of the training.
Mhm.
So, okay.
Okay.
Thanks, Amy.
Yeah.
Appreciate
Franklin
that.
TV.
I'll add it to
Oh,
the
yeah.
future agenda. I'll probably put it in March's agenda and we can
Yep.
go over all the dates, the upcoming dates for master plan committee.
Perfect. I think we're doing well. We are
definitely.
definitely got the steam rolling here. We're moving along well. All right, that was about it for things that was on my list over here. Does anyone have anything specific that they'd like to get feedback from Amy or Brian before we move on to next week's meeting? Anyone on Zoom, as Tom would say, out in Zoom land? No? Perfect. All right, with that, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second,
Roll call.
Bruce,
Yes.
Meg,
Yes.
Gino,
Yes.
Rick,
Yes.
Janelle,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Erin, is she still on?
Yes.
Ken,
Yes.
Yes.
clerk, yes, vice chair,
Yes.
chair,
Yes.
all right, unanimous.
Thank
Two
you.
absent.
Two absent.
Two
Thank you.
absent.
We are adjourned. Tom would say that's not debatable. Not debatable.
Okay.
anyway.